Hello, good evening, ladies. Good evening, beautiful ladies. The Poly Pimps are here tonight.
Here again.
Happy,
Yes.
happy day. Happy evening.
Happy day. Happy day. Yes. Very nice.
How's it
What's
going,
going
Sky?
on, y'all? Everything is good. I feel good today. You said do
You're
my
looking
hair,
bright and shiny and glowing. And I love the hair. Like, I really like that. That's a new style.
I'm trying to, change it up for 24,
Oh, look
trying to
at you. You're
do
going to
something
attract all
fun.
kinds of energy now, different energies too with
Oh
that.
yes, that's what we're trying. We're trying to attract all the energy.
Oh,
All
I
the
love
energy.
that.
I got my Africa earrings on because Africa is close at hand.
She's all
And
made
yes,
up tonight.
we're attracting all the energy, all the positivity. So yes.
Welcome, Ashley. Thank you for saying yes to us. Welcome to the
Yes,
Poly Pimps podcast.
Y'all look nice, and I'm wrapped up in a
absolutely.
blanket.
It's all right. Actually, tonight I really thought about sleeping
Versatility.
on my bed, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna get up for it.
Versatility.
Yes,
Yes.
we're cool with people being comfortable at home. Like typically
Yes.
when I do
I have
podcasts,
my PJs on the bottom.
Okay.
I usually am very comfortable when I do
Yes.
a podcast. So
This is like the perfect job, you just can be comfortable. So yeah.
yes,
With a little bit.
yes.
So what are we going to delve into tonight? Because my mind is like, I'm ready.
Oh my God. So yes, the topic tonight, guys, if you did not read it online yet, if you did not see our flyer, oh, should we show our flyer? Now I feel like we gotta show these things, but anyway, tonight the question is, can you still build a polycule while maintaining your independence? Now, we thought about this topic after our first Poly Pimp kickback. So,
Yes.
yes, we had so many amazing
So
people.
good. It was
Yes,
so good.
so many amazing people who showed up. We had so much fun. We had a live music. Oh, that was a nice touch to it. I loved it. It was just very relaxing in the background, but from time to time, people were jumping in and singing whatever he was playing. So I really like that. It was very cool.
It was very sophisticated.
Yes, and the conversation later. Oh my God, the setup, the setting, everything was just like the vibe was just right. The people, the amount of people that were there. If, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do a better one.
I know.
Yeah.
It's definitely got to be done again. I mean, we could figure out when, but that was such I was like, I'm not even sure what to expect. You know what I'm saying? But we just let it flow and it really came together. So
that's what happens when you don't force anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the what do you call that? I can't find my words. Yeah,
the universe.
Yes, organic. The word that people like to use. Organic. Thank you.
Organic.
But
cool.
Well, tell us a little bit, Ashley, about I know you were at the Poly Pimp. Just tell us a quick little tidbit before we dive into our topic tonight. What did you think of the Poly Pimp kickback?
I loved it. It was a nice mixture of people who have plenty of experience with various forms of non-monogamy, and some people who are just interested in hearing what other people's experiences are, and they don't have their own. So I enjoyed a lot of the back and forth and just so many questions, so many like open and honest, curiosity filled questions. That was really fun to be a part of.
Yes, thank you for coming. Thank you. I know it was your date night. What a great way to spend a date night.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely. So I think before we jump in, I think we should start doing some definitions, because when we start dropping these words, people start rolling their eyes. Because I already told a friend about the topic, and they were like, "Polycule, what?" And they started rolling their eyes because they were like, "Y'all in this language crap, it just gets too much." So I think it's cool to have a new language, to be honest, but.
Absolutely. But the way we do it here, Ashley, of course, we're familiar with the terms. So we kind of like tell people from what we know. We don't go for the Google. I mean, we will give them the Google one as well sometimes, but we usually just tell them this is what we know, and try to give examples so they can understand better. Because I am that kind of learner. I prefer getting it from somebody and from experiences. So what is a polycule? Well, so
Ashley,
to be a
you're on the spot.
polycule, huh? Oh, a polycule is basically your.
I thought you were pointing at Ashley, but go ahead.
Oh, oh no, I
A
was
what?
just no. I said a polycule is a configuration that has a bunch of different people. That can be involved with all one another, or you can have different dyads or triads or whatever else within that formation. And there's not necessarily a specific number for a polycule. It could be three or more, however many people. I guess they decide. I guess in common word we would call it like your circle, your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you guys think.
I generally call it your partners and your metas.
That's a great way to describe. Sky, I think you froze. Oh, she froze.
Oh no.
She froze. She's probably gonna exit and come back.
Okay. Little movement.
Okay, she's back.
Did I disappear?
Yeah. No, you did not disappear. You just froze.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The screen blacked out for me, but I don't know why.
Oh.
I'm plugged in to my Ethernet, but anyway, as you were saying.
Well, no, Ashley, she already gave her definition.
What did you say, Ashley? Because I missed it.
To me, it's just your partners and your metamors.
Okay. I would say my answer is going to be your polycule, or a polycule is your tribe.
Yeah.
Is that too vague?
No, actually, no. Because that's what I said. Your circle, your tribe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So now that we defined that for people, let's get into it. So, can you still build a polycule? What is your configuration, and what do you see yourself as when it comes to polyamory or non-monogamy? How do you operate?
Me personally?
Yes.
So I see myself as solo polyamory, and so do my direct partners, and we cohabitate. There are three of us, but it's a lot of scheduling and talking over whose needs aren't being not met, and just lots of Google Calendar. So getting figured out for we kind of settled into a pattern of nights of the week that are like my nights with one partner versus my nights with another partner versus just some solo time. So anytime that one partner is not with me, that's time that they are welcome to spend with anyone else, whether that's another person in the polycule or friends or family or what have you.
Okay.
So I have a question. Solo poly to me means you do not nest and you are pretty much on your own life. But you're saying something different. You're saying everyone is solo poly, but you all cohabitate. So explain that to me, because that's changing the paradigm of what I know to something different. So
yeah, my understanding or my definition, I guess, of solo polyamory is more that I make my choices for myself in my relationships, and my other relationships don't have an impact or an influence on what I choose to do with any given partner. And there's no hierarchy, um no privilege at all involved. So it's I choose to be with who I want to be with. They choose to be with who they want to be with, and that's that, right? I don't get to say, "Hey, I don't like your partner, so we're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna do about that."
So my question in all that though, cohabitating with a couple of partners, right? Does that give them priority when it comes to the partners that do not live with you? Like, let's say, you know, mm, you need to spend you okay because you say you have like specific days for a specific person. What if on the day that you're supposed to spend with the other person, one of your nesting partners is like, I really want you to stay home today because I'm kind of feeling this, I'm kind of feeling that. Can you just like cancel your date with so and so because I need you home?
I would honestly be surprised if one of my partners actually asked me that. Uh, that doesn't seem like them, to be honest. It would also, it would just, I would feel weird about asking one of them that too, because I know that the time that they have available is precious and limited, just as mine is. And asking them to make changes and plans that they've probably had for a week or two or more, just because I'm feeling a certain way, that that's something for me to sit with and me to figure out why I'm feeling some kind of way. If I need support, then I'll look for a different form of support rather than from one of my partners. I mean, I have friends and I have family for support too. If I'm having a hard day or if I need somebody, then if one of my partners isn't available, I have other people in my life for support. Just because they live with me doesn't mean that I get to hold some sway over them or where they go.
That makes sense.
So my question is going to go backwards a bit. What how did y'all make a decision to live together? And how do y'all balance?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Wait, did you guys buy a house? Did you guys buy a house, or did you like
Yeah,
how did the whole thing happen? You bought a how did y'all make a decision to live together?
yeah. Uh, well, my the first person I was partnered and living with was more out of necessity than anything at the moment because my marriage fell apart right as I had a young child. Um, so it was impossible for me to be able to support myself and my kid alone without having some other form of income together to make a house float. Um, there, there's no way I could have afforded it, especially in the state that I was in post that marriage. So my other partner was kind of in a very similar place after his breakup of a pretty big relationship too, and we were both coming from a place of trying to do our best to manage our own new relationship energy and still keep some level of separation. And like I was trying to treat it more like we happen to be cohabitating because we need to cohabitate because we need each other to help pay the bills, right?
Mhm.
But you have your room and I have my room and we have spaces, which has continued. um but then we just found out that we're really good living together, that we got along really well, that our general vibe of living together was very cohesive. And then um, my other partner, who I'd actually been with for a little bit longer, um, he wanted a kid. I wanted a second kid. So we were discussing what it would take for me to feel comfortable having another child because I had gone through a lot after my first one. And one of those things was, I mean, we got to live together because I'm not going to do this whole separate house and baby thing. It's not going to work.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
already going through it with one. It's not. Like every day that this kid is out of my house is just another day that my heart is breaking. Like I'm not doing that again. So it was we got to live together if we want to have a baby, and I don't want to stop living with my other partner. So, what does that look like? Are we all okay with living together? And everyone was good with each other, but I wanted to make sure that you can be chill with people, and then when you move in, it's a different world. So I wanted to make sure
Absolutely.
that living together was
Yeah.
gonna work. So I need a trial period of living together for a year before we actually get into trying to have a kid. And so we went house hunting together, and trying to find a house with 3 adults searching is interesting. There's no good brokers that will like give you a deal for 3 adults who aren't related to each other. Just FYI, if you're looking for a house for your polycule.
Right.
So how did that play into? So I mean, couldn't it be just like, let's say you guys were all best friends and you decide to buy a house together? I don't know how that works. Buying a house with somebody that you're not married with or related to. How does that work? With the
technicalities of it are,
market.
yeah, you basically just have to pick the person who has the best chances for getting a loan. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not even like renting where you back each other up. It's mortgages are dumb sometimes.
So they don't care if you're related to the person.
Yeah, a lot of things are really set up for couples.
Yeah, if you're not married, or I don't know what it's like if you have a familial relationship like parent-child at all, but if you're not married, no, they're, at least the brokers that we use, they didn't care.
Okay. So my next question is, what would have happened after you guys moved in together and one or two of you were not getting along? Like, how do you reconcile that? Because you've already bought a house together. How do you deal with that part? Like, did you guys put a plan together just in case?
Yeah, we actually bought a house that was manageable with just 2 of us, so that if the third person coming in who hadn't lived with us before just really found out this wasn't going to work for him, then we wouldn't be destitute, right? We would be okay. We would make it. It might be a little difficult at first. We made some adjustments, but we didn't go something that was only feasible with a 3-person budget. It's nice and comfortable with 3 people, and it would be doable with 2.
That makes
sense. That was very smart.
Yes, that is so
great.
Yeah,
that was smart.
I mean, which is typically what they recommend either way, whether you're buying.
That's
like
smart. I'm glad you did that.
Buying a house, they usually want you to be able to support on one income if need be, So that is very smart. So Scott, what do you think? Because we're always advocate as poly, and I know personally, I always say I don't want to nest with anybody. I think there's a delay.
I like what you guys are doing, Ashley. It makes sense. There's a delay?
It's okay.
Are you hearing me?
Mm-hmm.
You are? Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure. So I like what you're doing, Ashley. I love how you guys are living. I just always like put myself in that position. And so my first fear, I guess you could say it's a fear, is the whole living with people in general. And I think the first thing you said was the first experience was a necessity, right? And I'd never want to be in that position where I got to do like the roommate thing, So I've been busting my behind so that's not, I don't have to live with anybody because I have to, So now it's going to be more of a want. but the wanting feeling is not happening. So I wonder,
Hey.
so the question is, can you be independent and still have your, no, can you have your tribe and still be independent? For me is, can I be independent and create a tribe? That's more so what I think. The opposite. Like I would like the tribe vibe. Like I like that the togetherness, and I like that you guys are planning and you have this whole future and investment and all that stuff. So I like that aspect of it. But can I do that without cohabitating? Can you do that without cohabitating? Because that's my question. I don't really see a need for it. I don't have any desire, but I want you to come
I
over and
don't
then I want you to go, you know?
I don't see why cohabitation has to be part of it. I had the
Okay.
curiosity of what I wondered what y'all's definition of independence is.
Mm.
So, I mean, for me, the way I look at it is if I if I invest with you, right? Let's say we invest in a house. Okay, let me say this first before I get into that. This is my very first time living alone after my divorce, right? So I've always lived with family. We've always I grew up in a house full of people, not just my siblings and my parents. My mom was always taking in people who needed
Mm.
help. Somehow, my house was always full of people. And then I moved to the States. My house was still full of people because my stepmom was kind of like my mom. She was taking in people as well. And of course, the siblings and the parents are there. So, moved out. And by the time, I think I lived sort of alone for like just a few months because my sister ended up moving back to Jersey, who was living with me. So I was alone for just a few months, and then boyfriend moved in, and then we ended up getting married. So I never truly had time alone, making all the
Mm-hmm.
decisions as the only adult in the house. So I think because of that, I am holding on to that dearly. And sometimes, and also I like my space. I can be moody, and if I come home, I don't feel like talking to somebody. I want to be able to do that without anybody being offended, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 your partner is going to feel some kind of way. Now I have to say that the people that I do, it's the old style, I guess, because monogamy, right? You had to be present for the partner who was there, and why don't you want to talk to me, yada yada. But I have to say, now that I don't live with people, but I have people in my life that can understand the need for your space, your time. So I don't know if that would happen if I were to move in with any of my partners, but it's just the idea of having somebody in my space. I always say, if I were to cohabitate with anybody, you'd really have to have your own true space to where you can just disappear.
Wing.
I don't have to see you, the basement, another room, or like my best form of
The West
cohabitation would
Wing.
be
The West Wing.
pretty much, would be for us to be on the same lane with different houses. I can just walk over to your house, but I can just go back home. That's how I see it. So that, to me, that's the independence, not having to wait on somebody else's decision or approval to make any kind of decision in my house where I live regarding whatever it is.
Mm.
Um, that's the
Mm-hmm.
independence part for me in that sense.
What about for you,
Mm-hmm.
Sky?
Mm-hmm. For me, it's the peace. Peace is very expensive, and the things about living with people like that I don't feel comfortable about is, first of all, cleanliness. Like I
Mm.
must be OCD or something, but I just like things a certain way. I like things to be placed a certain way. I want it there. I want it. So I just like order, and I like it. And so most guys most guys don't really have those qualities, you know. Some do. I'm not gonna say all, but some, they're just not particular. And yeah, and
I think I have one partner
I
that's
could,
even cleaner than me, and I'm super clean.
yeah, so I don't know. Like those are like, and I know they're real I know they probably sound real minor, but it's like my piece is really important. And it's like, um, I don't know. I do like the idea of having like a piece of land and everyone has their own house, you know, so I can like go in and close the doors and blah blah blah, and everyone be close in proximity. I like that idea. But I definitely have a strong, not like, it's not appealing to me to live with anyone anymore. I just, but what you said makes a lot of sense with children. My children are older, so I don't need, you know, they're, I mean, they're, the youngest one is self-sufficient more or less. But with babies, oh yes, you're gonna have to be here with me. I'm not doing babies by myself. Yeah, you could forget it. So yeah, when it comes to family,
peace when I got kids.
right? When it comes to families with young babies and young children, you're gonna have to have the whole squad around, because I'm not doing all of it. So
I definitely understand it. It like my children are not very small, but they still younger, right? And now they have after school activities, and they're doing different things because there's a 5 year gap in between them. So it is really hard on me, and it's a lot of driving back and forth on the same day, dropping this one over here, picking up that one over here to bring him over there, then go back over there, stay with this one, pick him up, then go pick him up, then go get food or come home. So it's a lot of back and forth. So I can totally understand having the help. I mean, it would definitely be a lot easier for me if I had a partner to help taking the kids to activities. I would handle one kid and you'd handle the other one. But I am by myself, and these kids, they still have needs and wants, and I'm it. So I have to do the back and forth. And it is definitely a lot. So, especially with younger children, the benefit of it is amazing, but it has to be partners, because you could have the partners in the house that don't help. You'd have to have the partners that are actually helping and being
helpful.
present. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I do. I
Did
very
you
much
have
do.
did you have the second child?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's one now.
Okay.
Happy birthday, baby.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you have, so the partner
I
who
have
you
almost,
had, go ahead.
well, I have an almost 7-year-old from my previous marriage, and then I have a 1-year-old.
So the 1-year-old's father lives with you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then your other, is the other person your partner? So so your two partners live in the same.
Partner. Yeah, but they're friends with each other. They're not partnered in any sort of way.
Right.
Right, but they're your two partner. You're like V with them.
Yes.
Oh, lucky you. I like that.
I love it.
That's how we're doing it.
That would be something.
Yes. Get those 2 minutes.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yes.
Yes. I absolutely love it. Because like
I am here for this.
I love the idea of the tribe. I absolutely love it because there are so many benefits to it. But I think it's my fear of that space, you know. I'm enjoying being the only adults in the space.
Yeah. So the reason I was curious about how y'all saw independence was that reason. Like what I can talk about in my space that kind of addresses those concerns is that when I had already lived with one partner for we lived together for about 2 years, so we were pretty comfortable with each other, pretty solidly aware of how well we work together. But then integrating one who had been very independent for himself, we wanted a place that maintained that as best possible, right? So we were looking for a place as much as possible that could give us that kind of, I don't know, like split level life, right? So we ended up finding a place that has 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms, right? One set upstairs, one set downstairs. Everyone has their own bedroom. Everyone has their own space. So I don't feel like talking to somebody. I have the kind of relationship with them where I can say, I'm not in the mood. I'm just going to go to my room. And they'll be like, okay. And they may or may not ask me if everything's okay, and everything is fine. I'll just be like, yeah, it's cool. And if everything's not, I'll say, nope, but I'm not ready to talk about it. And they don't ask until I'm ready to talk about it. And then I can go to my own space, have my own thing, and we're all good. And luckily, we're all about the same cleanliness level. So I'm not concerned about, stepping downstairs and being like, oh, God, what is this? Everyone's pretty decent in terms of that. And it means like I'm not washing dishes every night. I'm not the only one taking care of things being cleaned. It has given me the ability to be a stay-at-home mom to my 7-year-old the whole time, to be here for the 1-year-old, right? So I get to build that relationship with them together. They get to have that time instead of my older kid going off to school and only seeing his brother for a couple of hours out of a day. He spends that whole time with them, and they have like a budding relationship now. All of that happens because I live with people who can help support the needs around the house and the financial parts of it that like I could step up work and do that, but I don't have to, thankfully. So it works for what I want for life right now in of life. And then when we move to a different season of life, then
things can change.
My work will change, my availabilities will change, like we'll shift how we need to shift, but we do get to maintain that level of, if I need something for myself, if I need to find a place, I can go on the back porch and swing in the hammock and be alone. I can go downstairs and be in the office and be alone. I can go to my bedroom and be alone. Like we have plenty of areas where,
I am so excited for you. That's unbelievable. That is so awesome.
Is your relationship closed?
No, not at all.
Nice. I like
that. Are your metas allowed to come spend a night or a few days at the house?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, I like it. Y'all sound well, healthy and balanced and stuff like that.
Yes. And that's the kind of polyamory too we want to promote and put out there, because people always think it's always a mess, right? When it comes to polyamorous. And it's like, it's not, just like in monogamy, you're going to find a ton of mess. In polyamory, you're going to find the same thing too, because people are not going to stop being people just because they call themselves poly.
Yeah. No, metas were over for Thanksgiving, metas were over for Christmas. I get to have not just my family, I get to have both of my partners' families. Like there were people from each of our families over for Thanksgiving. It was a whole big thing, and I get to have that connection with several routes of people, right? Like my kids have cousins that aren't necessarily cousins, but they're cousins.
Right. I love that.
Best matters.
Now, how does your family?
I think one of the things that
go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the things I was thinking when you presented the topic was that I think we might confuse interdependence with taking away from our ability to be independent, and there's very little way for anyone to exist without some level of interdependence. And I think for myself, I found a happy level of interdependence with my partners while still being able to promote that independence within us.
I totally agree with that. because I know we like to say we are independent, but the true word is interdependent because I'm not an electrician, I'm not a plumber, I'm not, there's a lot of things I'm not. So I do need other people in my life in order for me to live a full life, right? It's just certain basic things I would not like to depend on other people for them. And
Sure.
like you said, we are all interdependent, even when we think we are independent. We are human, we're not independent. So I totally agree with that.
I agree. Um, so the whole independence thing. So I guess what happens is, and that's part of the whole definitions thing, because everything that I've read is solo poly is non-nesting. That's what I've read. So this kind of changes my thought, because when you think of independent, you tend to think of a solo poly person tends to be independent. Like they don't share money, they don't have like a financial connection. This
They
is
don't
what I
put
learned.
resources together.
Yeah. So the way you guys are explaining solo poly to me sounds more like single poly. But of course, this terminology gets all kind of jimble jumbled and confusing. So
Yeah.
really the terminology really doesn't matter more so than the actual living and doing it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So I was going somewhere with that, but in essence, in essence, so how does the financial part work?
We actually opened a joint account to put house expenses into. So we put money in every month to make sure that the mortgage and the bills are paid, basically. Otherwise, our finances are independent of each other.
So
Okay.
you guys tallied up what the bills are, and then everyone like
Pay a
it's
percentage.
one third of each.
We actually split it proportionally to income.
Hmm.
Oh. And then what about the fact that like you have two kids there, the other
Hmm.
partner doesn't have a kid,
Hmm.
the other one has one kid with you, like how did are those the factors, or the children get a free pass?
The kids got a free pass.
They better.
Okay. Because that's how my brain is going to operate. My brain is going to be like, oh no, you have two kids over here, you got one over here, okay, that's an extra person, that's an extra mouth, that's more water,
Uh,
that's going to be, yeah, that's where I'm going, because I'm going to write all
no,
of
it's
this down.
valid.
I'm writing
Valid.
all of it down.
Oh Lord,
If you're
I
thinking
would
this
not want to
through,
be her roommate.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, that you guys take 20-minute showers, you take 1-minute showers. Yeah, because it's going to get complicated. That's why I can't do it, because I'm looking at everything. But
Well,
okay, so the kids got a
noted.
free. Uh-oh, she dropped off.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, so what do you think? How do you think
And I mean, I think it's amazing because again, we always talk about solo poly as not wanting or not really being able to do those things. But now, I see them, I'm like, oh, that's great. But I think also because we are also used to people having closed relationships, right? People who are usually nested most of the time, they tend to have close relationships. So that's why we usually don't think as solo poly as people who can nest and share resources and all that stuff. So it your configuration is definitely
ideal?
shifting, you
I like
know,
it. I
our
like
way
it.
of explaining solo poly as well. And it's ideal. Like, girl, you have two men who can get along great, who can help you.
uh,
And ideally, that's what we want because we always talk about the community. That's how
Yes.
you build a community. That's your community.
yeah.
So how did the men, has there ever been any drama, number one,
Oh,
and how
sure.
did the men relate before living together?
Uh, well, there's been a lot of time hanging out together, all of us. So They're friendly, had things in common. I don't think that we would have tried moving in together if they had any sort of awkwardness or beef. So I
Got it.
yeah.
Got it.
Man, I mean,
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's the part. And another reason why I'm more interested in not living, and this is partly because of um the dating game, right? So I'm open, right? And what I have learned, I mean, I've already experienced this because I did live with a guy for about a year and a half here in Atlanta. And we were living poly. We had the separate bedrooms. Um, I liked it. I was like, oh, this is working. We communicated well. We checked in, blah, blah, blah. The problem I had was that the other guys that I was dating were not comfortable with me having a man in the house.
Okay.
I
And
didn't think about it.
yeah,
Sorry.
so that is the part where I was like, oh, so, and of course you have to realize that a lot of people are not like advanced poly. They like the concept of it. They agree, they feel it, they're in, but they're in
Mm.
at the door. They're not like, they didn't jump into the pool yet. They're like, okay, Sky, you got me into this, right? So I mean, I dated one guy who refused to come over because he was like, I'm not going over to another man's house. And I was like, no, it's my place. It's my place. And he was like, no, you could spin it how you want to. I just don't feel comfortable, right? And I talked to a lot of guys about it, and most of them agreed with that sentiment. They were like, yeah, I get the poly thing. I like the poly thing, but I want to be able to gently meet the other guy. I want it to be gentle. I don't want to be in the room with you here and he's in the house. Like all those types of things are what they said. And so for me, the fact that I want not just the solo poly thing, because like whatever about the terminology, it's the fact that I want to have an open relationship to whoever. Like I haven't closed off, like I haven't created the type of partnerships where I'm solid, like, okay, we're going to ride this one out. I'm still dating. So
Yeah.
until that happens, I'm entertaining. And yeah, guys just don't. I'm doing better with no guy in the house.
I don't even think I'm like I would want to get to the point where, oh, we're just writing it out kind of thing, and not being open to dating other people. What happens if I come outside and Johnny's just looking cute and I want to talk to
Well,
you?
I say that because I just feel like sometimes I feel like an old lady, and I'm okay with knitting a blanket and
There's
sitting
not
there.
being able to, because your partner is not comfortable with it or your relationship is closed, and there's the opportunity then present itself. That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. If I get into a place, I'm open to what Ashley is doing, in essence, but it has to be like magical with mushrooms. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to look real special because I'm not doing it because, oh well, I don't got a place right now and I don't want any struggle love. I don't want any I'm trying to upgrade you, or we need to upgrade. I don't want no foolishness. I want folks coming in on the same train as me, and um and then get a bigger house, like I'm open. So like the way I look at the whole tribe thing, let me even, because the whole living together thing, that's not even really a thing for me, right? What is more important to me, and this is how one of my partners had said it about this whole, what poly is really, is this whole community building. we don't even have to live together. But if we do create this tribe, yeah, let's blow this thing up. Let's create an empire. Let's open a business. Let's buy some property and do some Airbnbs. Let's make some money. Let's create some sort of a, I mean, the thoughts are endless. I'm really more about that aspect of tribalism and getting together with metas and partners and what have you. I'm more interested in like abundance and creating this like, hey guys, let's lease a mega yacht in the over yonder somewhere and go on this beautiful 2-week cruise, and everyone's ready because everyone got their money. You know what I'm saying? Or the money that we've made is there. Like I don't know, maybe that's too dreamy, but that's kind of more so where I am. I know some other friends have said get some land and grow food and be self-sustainable. I'm all for that as well. I'll do some seeding, I'll water plants, I'll put my day in. I'm gonna go back home though. I'm gonna go back home. I'll pick and I will even cook. I could definitely cook from farm to table. Not a problem. Um, unless there is the land thing that we talked about and everyone has their own little individual cool little cabin type cool house. Um, yeah, that's kind of what the tribe would have to look like for me. But so far my experience has been everyone's kind of solo. There's no like intermingling, unless it's at like a party. And like I had my birthday and everyone came, but that was it. There's no like, we're not all in the living room together at any time. Everyone has their own dates separate. So
Ashley, would you say that maybe some people have told you that, oh, so you want your cake and eat it too?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've gotten the and you're just being greedy response.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it when people say
I think you should. I think you should be greedy. I like it.
Especially when you throw in that I'm bisexual and like, oh, and you'd like a female partner at some point. So yeah, I'd love a female partner at some point when I have time in my life. But
right.
Time
Right.
is always a thing.
yeah. But I think the part that people find enviable, or at least what they think of as enviable, and like, oh wow, you live with 2 guys, you can have the pee anytime you want, blah blah blah. Like that.
It's always that
Yes
part.
and no. Like not like that.
I like it.
The enviable part to me is that I have built a family that is unlike a lot of the other families out there, right? One of our nightly things is we all get together and we sit down and we say with my kid what we're grateful for, and like we spend rounds going through. Everyone says 3 things that they're grateful for from the day, and if someone's over for a date night with one of my partners, they usually come up and they join in, and just a big circle of my family getting to say like, yeah, this was my day and this is what was good in it and this is what I'm glad for, and getting to end every day like that with all the people in my life, like, or as many as that are there, and having people who are comfortable being part of that, like that means the world to me. It's not like someone has to be comfortable coming into every part of our home and our family in order to date any one of us. That's not a requisite. When the most social of us lives downstairs where there's the most space. So he's the most out there and dating person. So when people would come over who weren't ready to be involved, weren't ready to meet people, they would just come in at the door downstairs, hang out, spend the time that they were going to spend, and then leave when they needed to leave. And they never had to interact with me, never had to interact with the kid, never had to like do any of that if they weren't comfortable with it. They didn't have to. And at any point, if someone wanted to meet, they were welcome to come up and meet. And if they slowly but surely, the people that have become consistent in the in the polycule, because it's not closed, but right now I think everyone's kind of comfortable where they are at the moment, or at least most are comfortable where they are at the moment. Yeah, it's not anyone, no one's uncomfortable, right? There's still seeking going on, but like one partner is saturated, I'm saturated, and the other just takes more time to find what he likes. But you know, everyone who is currently involved is comfortable coming in and spending time with everybody else. They're also comfortable saying, I don't really want that right now. And they come in and like, I just want to chill alone with one person. That's cool. They don't have to defend themselves. They don't, no one gets offended.
Mhm.
Come up and say hi. It's not like that. So it,
How many days a week do you see both partners? Do you date both partners?
we have what, like 2 or 3 nights a week each.
Well,
Kind
that's a
of
lot.
yeah.
2 or 3 nights a week with each. So you only have one extra day.
One or two. Like there's kind of a flex day in there. But yeah.
Wow. I figured it would be one, but so you guys are really integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have private time with either one of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
That
so, one of my fears of intermingling like that and people moving in together or whatever was, a lot of times people are okay with the setup until it's in their face, right? Let's
Mm.
say, oh, I know my partner has another partner, and I'm cool with that until I actually see them together. And then
Yeah.
even like a little peck on the lip, it's just like, oh my God, like you're all heartbroken or you and your feelings about certain things, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like if I were to move in with one of my partners or they were to move in with me, whatever the case might be, but we're living together, right? So what happens then when my other partners want to come over and spend the night? Like, are you truly gonna feel comfortable? I'm not very quiet, but it's like, are we gonna be okay hearing certain things or even seeing that person hanging out in your space? Technically, I say your space in
Right.
quotation mark, right? But that person is there. Or
Mhm.
do you feel like you have to vacate the premises once another
mm,
partner comes over? Like, what happens?
I mean, for me, it's not a big deal, but that's because I got used to it over the course of
but
just
are you
Did you
the oh
run
no,
into
you're not the only woman though, right?
the only woman living in the house. Yeah.
But did you
Okay.
run into that before to where like the living partner had a little bit of discomfort with other partners coming to spend the night or hanging out while they were home and stuff like that?
My ex-spouse did. Um, and it was a lot of what I realized I wanted in my polyamory happened more reactively to how things weren't going well when my spouse and I opened up polyamory. So they really wanted more of a hierarchical structure. And at first I thought that's what I wanted too, because I didn't really know anything else. Um, but in a lot of that kind of reaction, right? Like I feel like I'm not being prioritized and I feel like I'm not being acknowledged in my own home, kind of things coming from them um, felt very restricting to me. And it was through a lot of that then it was like, oh, I think I want not this. Like I don't want
Yeah.
hierarchical, it's
Yeah.
structured like that. I want to be able to do my own thing in my own space at my own time. And,
Right. I love it.
but
Because
uh
I did have a partner who kind of mentioned, something like that, like moving in together, taking care. And it sounded so amazing. It sounded like, oh, yes, that would work out so good as far as, relief on both people, first of all, financially, because you're not paying two bills and things like that. But that little selfish part of me was like, nah, I don't want anybody in my space like that. I need to just come home whenever I feel like it. I don't have to explain
I
myself.
honestly, if my children weren't here, I would rather have a platonic roommate
Mm.
than
I
a
don't even want a
partner.
roommate.
I don't either. I don't either, but I rather have that than have a partner live with me because like once again, I I don't want to hurt any feelings when
Yeah, I feel like there are
you
expectations
know
set.
Right.
when Ride Cowboy comes strolling.
That's another thing. You can't just start at the door, right? With certain activities. You gotta wait till you get to a
a
safe
big
space.
10-gallon hat and some cowboy boots on a big white horse, you know what I'm saying? With a lasso and like what's going on here? Nothing.
Nothing at
I think
all.
it helps that a lot, most, or really all of us have a good overlap in kink, that we all like exhibitionism, we all like watching, so it doesn't feel as uncomfortable when you're already like, oh no, I'm cool with seeing that, I'm cool with feeling that or hearing that, like nothing, it doesn't seem odd. I mean, just like, oh,
I
they're having
definitely
fun.
I'm definitely on both ends, a voyeur and an exhibitionist,
Mhm.
So like I don't mind that at all. And I know everybody's like different, but definitely I'm cool with either or. It's pretty cool. As long as it's, there's consent everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey.
And compersion comes into it, right? Where you can just be happy that somebody's having a good time. Right?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes. Sky is
Yeah.
That's a very adult house. I wouldn't be. Nah, I'm trying to figure out how I would feel. I don't know how I would feel. I don't know how I would feel. I can't think of me hearing somebody busting cheeks
like kissing
and
and
I'm just like, oh, this is
clapping
groovy.
noise, clapping noise.
Macaroni, all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really know how to feel about that
I
because
think
I
you
would
are very traditional in
I'm
that sense.
I'm a little like, vanilla, but I'm just trying to think like I don't know. Yeah, I
Like,
don't
I don't want
know.
to
I,
hear
I
it.
don't
I
know.
don't
I
want to
can't
see
think
it.
that far ahead in the huh?
No, I'm saying you're saying I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it.
I don't
Those two
know. Like
words
I'm not sure how to feel about that, but
I think that's totally reasonable. It does not everybody's gonna be comfortable with that. And it's not
right.
this setup's not gonna work for everyone.
especially because like here's the thought, right? It's not like a roommate. It's like your partner is with somebody else, right? And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, was that a yell out? Was that someone screaming? What is going on? And I'm just gonna be like, I gotta go. I don't know. I'm just like,
All
I don't
right.
know if I can handle that.
So I want to ask a very intimate question. You can answer or not. It doesn't matter. I wanted to ask anyway because I see you very open. So what happens if you just spent some intimate sexual time with one partner
Mhm.
and then you're done and the other partner all of a sudden he's like, because either he heard it or whatever, now he's turned on. So
Mhm.
what, like, is it okay at that
You get a
point to
second
be
knock at
with
the
the
door.
second partner? Like, how do they feel about it's not necessarily you because you're having the
Yeah.
fun. Like, I'm okay with it. Like, okay, thank you. I'll see you in the morning. I'm gonna go to Johnny over there. But how do they both feel about that? Would somebody feel like, oh well, I don't wanna be with you because you were just with him, or I don't want you to go be with him because you were just with me. Like,
No one's got possession like that. It's
Hello.
more about this was our time together, and if someone's open to, I mean, I'm trying to imagine someone just at this point is being like, "Hey, I heard y'all. Can I my turn?"
That would be heaven.
Not gonna say threesomes don't happen, because they do, but
Right.
much less often with the kids around.
Right. Absolutely.
More difficult. It's more like I wouldn't even know. I assume you find out very quickly how thin your walls are and how well or poorly insulated your home is.
Wow.
Very cheaply made.
When you live with multiple sexually active adults. So I just assume that everyone hears everything. That's just what's running through my head. It's like, I don't care. I just assume because I can hear things happening that everyone hears everything happening. So, we generally, if something's happening that's loud enough, it's happening after the kids are asleep. And that time is more often like scheduled ahead, like this is our time, right? So another partner wouldn't just come knocking on the door and being like, "Hey, I heard y'all, and hoping I can get them." They respect that that's our time together, and more often than not, what's going to happen is instead I'm going to stay and cuddle and spend that time like just connecting.
Nurturing. Mm-hmm.
But with you guys living together, because I know some different people, because I have some partners who definitely make it clear that if you were intimate with somebody else, they want a little gap in between the time that they see you, right? So, like, do you guys have that agreement or anything like that?
Nah. No, I mean, once you've gone through a couple threesomes, you're pretty much
connected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a partner, the partner that I was living with, he was so turned on by me going out on dates. And every time I went out on a date and came back, he was just ready. He was ready.
What do we call that? What do we call that too? I mean, it might be a kink as well, but it's compersion, right?
Is that what it is?
I think it's part of compersion as well, but it might be a kink as well.
Yeah, I think that's part of kink.
Yeah. But he's so excited that you went on a date. He's happy to celebrate with you as well.
Right. Celebrate.
That's generous.
Before and after. Yeah. So yeah, that was something. And we talked about it. I was like, how do you get so excited that I was just with somebody else like 5 minutes ago? And he was like, I don't know, but I'm so excited. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for it. So sure. Let's get it.
I'm here for all of it.
I'm here for it. Sprinkles. So yeah. I mean, that's to me, honestly, I mean, it is about community building, and it is about family and, creating your bigger tribe or what have you. But that is the plus. I mean, there are so many monogamous people that have just the saddest sex life in the world. They just don't even know what good loving is. And I feel for them, but that's the choice they made on that lifestyle that they chose to live because they thought it was right. And that's your business, because I mean, and they get mad at us for being open to good sexual experiences. I mean, to die and not have an orgasm, you might as well just kill yourself early.
Whew. I don't even want to think about that. Like,
do you know how there's so many women? I'm gonna pull it up right now. There's so many women that don't orgasm at all.
Because they haven't found the right one to help them.
Or they haven't explored themselves enough.
What?
They haven't explored themselves enough. They haven't been told that it's okay, or they feel comfortable with themselves.
When you think about the world, a lot of people are very religious, right? But religion tells them it's not okay to play with yourself, ma'am or sir, but mainly ma'am, don't play with yourself because that's dirty. Yeah. So a lot of women, they go a long time, probably late in life, not even finding pleasure spots in their bodies. Like, even if a person asks them, So what really gets you off? Like, how
Right.
can I make you come? They don't know because they have learned in church that they should never touch themselves. If you touch yourself somewhere that feels good, you better run from it. So that's always been the narrative.
They said 10 to
Yeah, the sex is there
15%.
for the pleasure of man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 10 to 15% of the women of the earth have not had any orgasm. They said that more than half of all women are not satisfied with their sex life. More than half.
I can't even imagine myself. Like, if I'm not being satisfied, obviously, by somebody, I would have to find a way to make that happen. I mean, and that's a whole different episode. We're gonna
That's a whole nother show.
a
That's
sex
a whole nother show.
right? But
We put a pin in that one.
it is so amazing when you just
And
know your point,
and
right?
even though it is another show, it is a big part of why polyamory is a good thing, because let me tell you, you can meet somebody who is absolutely wonderful to you. You guys connect, there's chemistry, there's all this type of stuff. And sexually, it's mediocre, it's okay, right? And then you could have another partner that is just
Rocks your
riding
world.
cowboy. Yeah. And
Your
but you don't
porn
want to
star.
but
That's
you
what
don't
you
want
call
to
it.
but you
Your
don't
porn
want this guy, you don't want this guy to go anywhere because you love him, you care for him. You know what I mean? There's stuff there. But you're not hitting like octaves, you know what I'm saying? So you might need both. Let's keep it real. You might need both. Or
I
all
mean,
three of them.
I think there's always a balance because the person that might be pleasing you sexually gets you to sing notes that you didn't know you could sing, right? Might not be the person that you cuddle with. That
Right.
because we need that, right? And we all have cuddle people. Like, I have my cuddle people. And we have a different cuddle with different people as well.
Right.
So, um, like, why should I give one up just to be with one? Like, I don't want to lack. I want all of it. I want my cake and eat it too. So
Right.
I want the porn star sex, but I also want the lovey-dovey cuddles
Romantic.
with the other person,
Mhm.
the romance that comes with the other person. It's fine. Nothing
Mhm.
is wrong with you people. You can have it all. Yes,
You
you
can
can.
have it all. You can have your cake and eat it too.
Yes, you
Yes,
Sounds
can.
we
good.
almost have it all.
Well, Ashley, I am proud of you. I am slightly jealous of you. Like, in my mind, I'm like, "Ooh, could I do that?" Not
You're putting
ready,
us
but
on a different path right now, Ashley.
Hmm?
I said you're
What was
putting us
that?
on a different path.
Oh,
yeah, I'm trying to imagine what my life would be like with two men in my household. That would be super special, you know. But then
I'm lucky.
I would probably want a third, you know what I mean? So it's like
Oh, what's
out-
wrong with seeking a third? Sky? That
space.
might be the next
Space is
episode.
right. Oh yeah, definitely.
You missed
Definitely. But okay, Ashley, here are the points that I like. I like that you guys are open still. Like, but you say you're open, but you're saturated. So you know where your limitations are, right? So I like that. But things could change, like if time changes or what have you. I like that. I like that thinking. Because that whole closed thinking is like you're closing, an opportunity might come around, So I like that the fact that you guys are open. I like the fact that everyone gets along. I like the fact that metas come in and go, and if it sounds healthy, sounds like y'all are great communicators.
We worked on it, yeah.
Yeah. So what are
Yeah.
the what are any long-term goals, or just right now y'all are just
I
living?
mean, we still want to live together. a long-term goal would be to move into a slightly bigger house so we have a little bit more space for the kids. But other than that, and just letting life happen how it happens.
Oh, one last question. Since you brought up the kids again, it kind of made me think of it. So I know you live with one of the partners and he's the daddy for the baby.
Mhm.
So is the other partner allowed to parent the baby? Like, have you guys talked about that? What the other partner is allowed or not allowed to do when it comes to the baby, to the kid,
Yeah,
basically.
well, talk about everyone being the kids' adults, right? Like not just I'm mom, but like everyone is some sort of figure in their lives, right?
Mhm.
So the other partner is, to whatever degree he feels comfortable being a parenting figure, right? Most of the time he defers to like whatever kind of set rules we have for the kids. Like when, since the other one's newer, uh, talk more in terms of my older kid. It was definitely more of a looking at how I would like to parent him and deferring to like the rules that I set up for him and the way that I prefer to discipline or not discipline, or that he didn't take it upon himself to set and like I'm your new dad or anything like that.
Right.
So it's just it's more reinforcing the type of parenting that he sees me doing. And since the new daddy partner has been there seeing that too, right? That's part of that. Can we live together? Can we create another child together? Is, do you look at the way that I parent and think that's how I would like to raise a kid with you as well? Because if you look at the way that I parent one child and go, yeah, but I don't want to do it that way, and like, then we're not gonna really parent well together. Because obviously, if I think that this is the way that I want to parent one kid, it's gonna be the way that I parent both kids. And
Mhm.
so it was looking at that compatibility in parenting too, so that we're all like on the same page, reinforcing the same message with them.
So how did you ensure that daddy was the daddy if you have two partners?
Oh, easy. We just didn't have sex for a little while. Like, um, if we did have sex, it was one with the condom. But I was very anxious about any potential of that, not like of condom failure or anything like that. So I was pretty hands off, or not hands off, but pretty pretty
I
non, yeah,
So you
non penetrative.
you intentionally made the baby with the
Yeah.
one partner.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Okay, that's
And
nice.
I got lucky that like I conceived pretty quickly, so it wasn't like it had to go on for a whole year.
I'm
So it
okay.
was just 2 cycles. So
That's great. Well, congratulations on your big
yeah.
family, big happy family. You kind of remind me of Big Love. That
Uh,
show. I love that show, man. I love that show. So
minus the drama. Minus the drama.
yes, but it's
Well,
TV.
the drama gets the ratings.
They need us to watch, so they got to create the
I
drama. But
Yeah.
all in
feel
all,
like people
though,
would get bored watching us.
right, exactly. But all in all, it's so amazing, and I think those are stories that need to be out there as well, because everything they put on TV about polyamory is always so negative. It's always about just threesomes and messy couples,
Mhm.
unhealthy.
Triads and unicorns and all that stuff.
And it's like I need the good ones to come out
The
and
healthy families.
yeah, so we truly appreciate you saying yes to coming on the show. Your face is gonna be all over the internet.
Oh.
But we really do appreciate everybody who comes on and talks to us and share their stories, their experiences, because as two Caribbean women, that's how we want to offer polyamory to the world based on our experiences from different cultures than here. So we like to people to live polyamory and understand polyamory from experiences, not what you see on TV. So we
Yeah.
truly appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And hopefully this won't be the last time that you're gonna be our guest because we'll do like our repeat guests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me.
Did we
Yes,
answer the question?
I think we did.
Okay.
I definitely think we did. I hope our audience loved this topic, loved the conversation. Um, and this is actually a pre-recorded. This is the first time we've done this, and we're gonna see how it goes because we're having some scheduling conflicts. Um, but hopefully we can go back live really soon for our people because we love the interaction. But hopefully they can still interact and we'll be able to answer all their questions. So thank you guys. You guys have a good night and we will see you back soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to the Poly Pimps.
Poly Pimps
Pimping that easy.
pimping